Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I'll be with you in a second. I just quickly need to get a few things out of the way. Just need to get some screens up. I've only been able to get into the server right about now. For all viewers joining for the first time, very welcome. We're iRacing South Africa, South African iRacing League, and we're currently busy with our new beginnings league, and unfortunately I see it's kind of cropping off at the top of my screen. But it's kind of the, let's say, the Kickstarter for our official league, which we'll get to in due time. We're racing at Okayama with GT4s. We've got the Caymans, and the McLarens, and then the Beamers. So it's going to be a very interesting day. I just still need to see if we're already in qualifying. No, still practice. Okay, that's good news. I was a bit flustered there for a second. Thought I'd gotten in just at the tail end. Thankfully, we don't have the technical difficulties that we had last time. Let me just quickly get all of the chat windows up, see if anyone's saying hi. Yeah, if you're new, feel free to say hi on the stream chat, either on iRacing South Africa or on my personal one if you're watching from there. And then just get a nice big screen up. Okay. So just to quickly talk about Okayama, a Japanese track, of course. I'm not entirely sure about the location, but weather-wise, looking fairly humid, no wind of sorts really, 25 degrees Celsius, so nice and cool weather, fairly good for racing, although if I'm understanding my screen correctly, the track temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, which is extremely high. If that is the case, it can cause some real issues for these cars. You'll see them degrade or going through those tires a lot quicker. Yeah, we're running the full course configuration. Starts out going straight, then right hand sweeper. Actually, I'll get to that in a bit. Let's rather just go on board with some cars first. So tonight we've got all of the J's at the start. And just give me a second. There we go. Okay. So, looking at the points thus far that we've got Jacques Buerta leading with 18 points. Jaco Forster following behind him in second place with 15.4 points. Ines Botma closely following Jaco with 15 points, tied with Wayne Wortley, who's also at 15 points. Then we've got Jaco Steyn at P5 with 14, Zach Foster P6 with 12.4. Although he did quite well with the radicals, so it's going to be interesting to see what he's got to do with the GT4 cars. Jared Paul sitting at 10.6 points, Gordon Hales 9.2, Yasamai 8.8, Sean Webber 7.4, Carl Dinkelman at 5.8, Raymond Duggan 5 points, Renier Engelbrecht 3.4, Jan Spammers 2.2, and Marius Pretorius at 2 points. Just a quick thing about how the point system works. So I haven't gone into it in detail yet, but you get points for your finish, and then you get deducted points for incidents, so crashes with cars, off tracks, loss of control, that's all going to cost you points. So these drivers are really encouraged to do as well as they can with how clean they drive. Just quickly looking at what the performance has been in practice last night, when Wortley dominating the time with the 136.5, although I say dominate, he's closely followed by Jacques Buerta, also in a McLaren, 136.7. Zach Foster, another McLaren. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the McLarens are going to dominate this track or whether the other drivers were just not running at full pace last night. Andrew T. Brown, the next car of a different make, running at a 137.0. So 5/10 of the fastest time. And then we've got another McLaren following that. When I deployed, the only person that I can see really running a Beamer, not sure whether people dislike the car or whether it's just a case of the BOP not really balancing that well. We're almost done with practice, so sorry. Everyone should be warmed up. They should be ready. I see 15 drivers on the server, so 13 doing laps, but there's two, I think, sitting in the pits. Oh, and we see someone just almost hitting the barrier there. Okay, so going into qualifying, and let us just see who's going to be the first person out. Cars jumping in, and who's that Porsche? I think that might be Yakustein. Yes, Yakustein running out on the Porsche. Last time it was first lap or first fast lap counts, so everyone's coming out fairly bunched up on the track. So it's only really Yakustein that's got a good nice amount of space to work around him. We'll have to see how that works out. Oh, and just spinning out there on the 8-man curve. He'll have to slot into the middle of traffic there. So that's highly unfortunate for him. I think the next car is not Wayne Wortley up front, but we might as well focus on him. Wayne Wortley here, running in the McLaren, in the middle of the pack. And oh, actually, I was looking at the McLaren behind him. So most of them still making their way around the track, about 2/3 through. So really too much shenanigans. Renier already pushing at pace and already getting his pass sector deleted. So not deleted. Someone are doing him on the time. So that's going to be interesting. My track map is not working at the moment, so I do apologize for that. See if that's it. Sorry, I never introduced myself. I'm Jan Karinas. Unfortunately, I'm running without my co-commentator, Shay Loebscher, or Shannon Loebscher. He's actually running in the race here. So first, we'll just quickly have a look at Wayne Wortley as he goes around. As the time started registering, but we're going to probably expect a bit faster from this. I'm running fairly close, so looking through 8-man curve. Nice, sticking close to the inside. This is where you really want to carry speed, since this back straight is extremely important. It's the longest straight on the course, so you can expect a lot of passes happening here. And it also ends in a very, very heavy braking zone, which gives the drivers a lot of opportunity to really outperform one another on the brakes. So when doing very well, keeping faster sectors for sectors 1 and 2. We'll keep an eye on what he does for sector 3. And he was showing the pace through practice, so he's probably going to do quite well in the initial qualifying. 3 purple sectors, that's doing extremely well. Although Jark Witter just stealing the 3rd sector from him, that could possibly put Jark on a second pole. Just watching Wayne go through the last part of the track. Again, he needs a really good exit here for the straight, start-finish straight. Hopefully getting another purple sector for him here. We'll see what happens. And whether he clinches the pole position, and he does, sits on the pole. Let's see if anyone can knock him out. Yakustein jumping in. Jark Witter already outperforming the Botma as well. Foster. A lot of people are jumping into the 3rd pole position here. So currently Buta and Foster sitting in second and third, doing extremely well. Let's see if we can have another car on track. Where is Sean? We have him. So, Sean Lobsher coming across in 9th position. Well done, Sean. It's kind of miss you not having you in the booth with me. It's a lot more difficult controlling all of the cameras and watching everyone. But really excited to see you race a bit. Sean only recently got hold of his steering wheel again, so he's a bit rusty, but already doing a lot better than I can do. I can tell you that. So, looking through the times, we've got Wayne Wardley on pole, Jock Butter, Jacob Forster, and then Zach Forster again. The two Forsters sticking close by, fairly well matched. We'll see whether they can duke it out on the track a bit. And then Jan Spammers. It says he's on an outlap. Apologies. We'll just quickly get the best times up for us. There we go. So looking at the times, we've got the first 5 positions in the 136s, and then next 4 or 5 positions in the 137s. So it's a bit more spread out than it was last time. And it's going to be really interesting seeing how they perform on the circuit. Just trying to see on my screens whether Jan is actually, whether he still needs to set a time or whether he's already set one. So fortunately that doesn't improve his time. So a lot of drivers now just kind of driving out there, practicing a bit. So everyone seems to have, everyone has set a fast time already, so this is going to be our structure for the grid. So just quickly talking about the track, and let's see if we can find Wortley again. Actually, let's see one of the different cars. So Jakob Forster, he's already near the end of the track. Let's get in cockpit with him. So with Okayama, to me it's a very nice flowing circuit. You do get a very rhythmic feel from it. Down the start finish straight. You want to look just after this bridge by the time tower is your braking marker. Coming in, just clipping the apex, moving to the outside. Again, you want to not go too far so you can get ready for the next turn. This is fairly tricky, since you can easily spin out your car if you get on the power too early. And now it's just full out, cutting the corner, prepping for the hairpin. Oh, not hairpin, but this kind of double apex curve at the start of the back finish, or the back straight. Again, now getting on the power nice and early, just focusing on your shifts, making sure that you're not ruining anything, and then by the marshal station there, or just but before that, brake into the hairpin, and then again set yourself up for the revolver, just slightly clipping the apex, going out really wide, preparing, again clipping the apex, and now you want to kind of set yourself up for the next few corners. So braking just underneath the bridge, second gear I think, second gear, and then not too far to the left, keeping your gear, not trying to spin out your tires too much, and then drift out to the side, pull out flat or a slight lift for the driver, and then again, this is a really important corner, making sure that you hit the apex at the correct position. And unfortunately Yaku's a bit early on the power there, so that's sending his backside spinning out into a wall. But a very fun circuit nonetheless. I just quickly need to get my sound sorted. Currently getting some feedback. There we go. That's a lot better for me, and now I can actually hear the cars as well. So, just over a minute left before qualifying in. Well, just under a minute left before qualifying ends, and we should be ready to get this race started underway. So, just a quick word. This New Beginnings League that we're running, it's, as I said, it's kind of a kickstart for the official iRacing league that we want to run. And it's to iron out all of the little problems. That's why I'm also still not on the best game, on the best level that I want to be. So round 1 we did Mazdas. This round, of course, the GT4s. Round 3 is going to be GT3s at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're doing the Roval. And then I missed round 4 over here somewhere. So then round 4 is GTEs. Round 5, TCR, and round 6 is going to be a team event that we still need to explain a bit later. Okay, qualifying over. And let's see if my race info wants to update to the grid. Unfortunately not. Just wait for a few of the last guys to come in and for the server to take over, and then we should be ready to get going. Still a few on the track. Might as well just jump to Sean. And the guys are finally stopping. Just finishing off their last lap before they get ready to get ready for the grid. Another thing that I've got, this race is a fixed setup, so there's not really a chance of the drivers outperforming each other based on the tinkering that they're allowed to do on the cars. So tonight is going to be purely who's the better driver, who can adapt to the car the most, and who can really eke out the best performance from what is offered. So I apologize, I'm just quickly sorting out the cameras for the start. Not really seeing anyone jump over yet. So yeah, if you're on the Twitch stream, please feel free to say hi. I've finally got both of them open here in front of me, so I should see all of the messages coming through. I can hear some of the cars revving. So yes, we've got the grid set up. So we've got Wayne Wortley on pole, Jock Butter sitting next to him. And it looks like Wayne has got the outside line. It's going to be really interesting going into the corner. If Jock is really quick off the start, then he might actually be able to just... Oh, wait, sorry. I keep forgetting this is not the normal ranked races. So using a pace car to get started from the back of the course. The pace car is going to go in just before the main straight, so then they're not doing a full lap. They're just going to do kind of a pacing lap around the backside and then get going. Wayne did have an unfortunate situation last time where the pace car went in and he was caught off guard. I can't remember who it was that jumped ahead of him on the start, but Wayne really needs to learn from his experience. Well, he probably has. So we'll see whether he keeps up the pack nice and tidy and then gets going quickly when the opportunity arises. So we've got the base car in, we're ready to race. You can see Jog Butter just pulling alongside, or as far alongside as he can. thankfully Wayne has got the inside line, so he's going to send us off. And we're officially racing. So Wayne Wortley taking the lead, leading Jock Buerta, taking the inside line, and got no real shenanigans going on. Everyone just going through very cleanly. And but of course there are no changes in lead as yet. Sorry, no changes in position as of yet, and everyone's staying very close. And Jock Buerta, oh no, that's unfortunately some real issues with the server. So of course they're thinking he had the open line, and the network code just sending them merging into one another. But we're back up and racing. And Forster now following Wayne Wortley, closely followed by Buerta, who's also recovered from his position a bit, and then Jock staying. Other than the netcode, not really much happening. And then we've got Forster unfortunately going off track, which means explains why he's off the back in 14th. So Wayne putting a bit of a lead now, 2.5 seconds. That's a fairly substantial one for just one lap. Although he's losing a bit of time there on the exit of the last curve. And Buerta also closely following. Looking at my timing screens, not really much happening other than Zach having a bit of an unfortunate situation, getting wind up in one of the corners. And we're just going to jump back a bit, keeping an eye on Jakob Forster. Jock Buerta's McLaren holding up, if I'm correct, 3 different Porsches. So Porsche's doing a lot better than they did in practice. And we've only got the two leading McLarens. I've only personally driven with the Porsche itself. It is a bit tail happy, and you do not want to touch a curb with it. It really does jump up on you if you're not careful. Then into my favorite part of the track, into Revolver. Again, it's very crucial that you get this nice and wide exit on the curbing to open up the corner for yourself, because otherwise you can get stuck through this next mini straight, and then if a car can keep behind you through the next few turns, you might be a sitting duck when it comes to the start-finish straight. But so far, fairly clean. Looking down the pack a bit, we have, unfortunately, let's just see here, this is Hesbert Einakel, and he was overtaking for position. I might have just missed the tail end of that. Okay, pack still fairly close together. Unfortunately, René van Skalkwyk has had a bit of a crash, so he's lagging behind the pack, but he's got nice clean air, so now he just needs to get his head down and get on with the racing. Gordon Hales is putting a lot of pressure here on Shane Lubscher. Come on, Shane, you can do it. Again, both Porsches, I think. No, sorry, Porsche and McLaren. So Gordon Hales sticking behind Shane, opting to rather not go for the lunge at the end of the straight, but to just keep the pressure up and hopefully force a bit of an error from him. And the rest of the pack still, we've got Wayne leading. Is that Sean? Yeah, that is Sean. Sorry, I was reading my timing screen incorrectly. Again, back of the circuit, Shan needs a really good exit here to keep Ailes at bay. We'll see whether he's able to manage that though. And Ailes almost pulling alongside and making the move on Shan. We're going to see whether this is going to be done before the braking zone. They're still alongside, and Shan has to concede and tucking behind. Further up, we've got Botma. There's Botma. Putting pressure on Jaco Steyn. Again, a Porsche McLaren battle. And so far, staying within the 0.5 of a second, just keeping nice and close. He might opt here to again put pressure on him, force a mistake from the backside of the circuit, and maybe get an opportunist or get an opportunity to pass on the main straight. Again, looking really good through Revolver. Lagging behind Steyn, but Steyn getting the better exit of Revolver and getting a bit of breathing space because of that. But we'll see how he does with the next few corners. Again, kind of compromising between going too far out and just staying in enough to take the corner quite well. And he's opening up the gap. It's about a second, so Botma is going to have to wait and stick closer for the rest of the circuit. Further down, Raymond Duggan putting pressure on Spammers now. So Spammers needs to be careful that he doesn't get into a bit of a tricky situation where Duggan can make use of it. And I apologize, we've got a battle for second. So Botma and Forster battling it out, trying to see who can get that position behind Wayne Wortley. Wayne just keeping the gap behind him to about a second and a half, so not extremely. He hasn't really pulled out of the pack as I expected he would, but just keeping that bit of breathing space, and this battle behind him between Jaco Botha and Jacques Botha and Jaco Forster is going to help him a ton to actually pull away. You can see Botha also very aware of this Porsche sitting behind him. It's going to come down to these next few corners to really see whether he can. Ooh, getting really close. Bumpers almost touching. So if Forster can get the better exit, and we'll see right about now, getting a really nice exit. So Forster doesn't really have the driver Botha, and both drivers fairly equal as they come out of that corner. Now just again up to them to really stick by one another and try and just get those good exits onto the straight. Looking a bit further down, unfortunately having a bit of an off. So that's put him behind for a bit, but he still has kept behind Engelbrecht, so we'll see what happens there. Wortley pulling the gap to almost 2 seconds. This battle between Botha and Forster is really turning into an advantage for him. Jumping back to Duggan, putting a lot of pressure on Jan Spammers. Really just sticking that bumper of the Porsche right underneath the wing of McLaren. So we'll see what these gentlemen have up their sleeves for the next few turns. Again, the pack's still fairly close together. I would have almost thought that they would have spread out by now, but and Duggan keeping really close. He might have gone and held up on the apex, and yeah, he seemed getting a bit of a better drive through the turn, and a lock up from spammers. So that's going to give Duggan the slipstream that he needs, but does he have the opportunity to make that attack? No, it doesn't seem like he wants to take a look at that. So he's going to stick a lot closer, but we can see the pressure is getting to spammers a bit. So Duggan might have something to work with here. Sean Loebser making a good drive, putting a lot of pressure on Engelbrecht, so we'll see how he progresses from there. First, second, and third still staying fairly the same. Ooh, Duggan again getting really close to spammers. Just needs to be careful that he doesn't get held up at the apex. But we'll see from here. Spammers running defensive. Duggan going around the outside and unfortunately doesn't have the speed or the drive. And just slots in back behind spammers. Some good racecraft from these two gentlemen right here. Kind of want to see what spammers does down the back straight, whether he's going to run defensive again, whether the pressure is going to get to him. So Duggan really sticking close to spammers. Needs to be careful not to be held up too much on the apex for the next two turns. And we'll see now whether they're able to what they're able to do. Duggan sticking really close. He's got the drive. Ooh, and Spammer's going really wide. This is going to give Duggan the opportunity he needs. And we've got... he seems to have slacked off there a bit, so Duggan opting not to attack too much. Rather just survive for another day. Knowing that he's still got 30 minutes of racing to do, so he's kind of just picking his tempo here, just sticking to it, and taking the long game into consideration. Further down, we've got Everest A. Nagel. I've not seen him here before, putting a lot of pressure on Thompson and actually making the pass. So glad I caught that. They're still running side by side. We'll see what they do for the hairpin, and Nagel opting to tuck in, weaving a bit. That's odd. He probably was looking to see whether Thompson was going to break a bit earlier, but realizing that that's not really going to have a good outcome for him or his opponent. Falling back a bit, so we'll see whether he's able to actually make up the time in the next few corners. But I do think that he has to kind of work that back a bit. Up ahead, Foster again putting pressure on Buerta. So down the start-finish straight, they're separated by 500 milliseconds. So too far back to really make a pass. I think for the skippies, it's about 5/10 that you need to able to start getting the draft. So you need that at the start of the straight. But Foster just maintaining that gap, putting that pressure on Buerta, and just waiting for his opponent to make a mistake. Wortley just extending his lead to now 2.5 seconds. So he's kind of running uncontested here. Buerta and Foster are holding each other up and giving Wortley the space that he needs just to really get his head down and drive. We can see the gap getting quite lower and Foster backing off, knowing he doesn't really have the opportunity to attack here. Looking at my timing screens, I have a few things happening back in the pack, jostling for position, and we actually have Nagel overtaking Thompson. There you can see nice and neat. Well done. So, we're back at the battle between Buerta and Forster. And I'm going to have to say my favorite car here is going to be the Porsche. The McLaren honestly just feels like it really wants to kill me. And as my wife will tell you, I'm not the greatest BMW fan, so I'm a bit biased when it comes to that car in particular. But these cars are really fun to drive. A bit less powerful than the GT3s, but it really gives you the opportunity to get to know your car a bit better, and it gives you the room to really grow as a driver before you get overwhelmed with all of the power and the different ABS systems or the different electronic systems that aid you. So this just, to me, feels a bit more fun to drive. Forster still staying very close to Buerta, not getting the opportunity they need. Buerta really making sure that he makes no mistakes and gives Forster no opportunity. Well, unfortunately, Sean having a bit of a rough day today. I'll keep the camera off you. I don't know what my commentator scores is like yet. Let's see if we can get some interesting views here. So there we go. Sorry, wrong call. There we go. Just to see how close Buerta is actually sticking. Ooh, and you can see how close these drivers are to one another. It's kind of almost touching the back of McLaren there. And I can only imagine if you're under pressure from another driver like this, just how difficult it is to really focus on your apex and your exits. And speaking of apex and exits, Forster getting a really good run through that corner, but deciding not to push Forster too far, opting to rather use the slipstream to stay with him. And Duggan further back, getting really close to Spammers up the straight. Spammers running defensive, but that's might not help him against Duggan. The side by side going into the hairpin. Ooh, that's really close. Well done for those drivers not tapping into one another. Okay. Spammers just showing that you can actually get a lot done with these cars and running a nice defensive line and just keeping Duggan at bay as best he could. Jumping to another one of the battles. Forster now looking at the back end of Nagel. Or Nagel, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Again, running through the last two corners. We'll see what they've got up their sleeve for the main straight. We've got McLaren behind the Porsche. So, oh, and unfortunately, who's that behind there? Just Botma having a bit of a moment at the start-finish straight. Not sure how he kept it on there, but well done. Back to Forster, just sticking really close to Nagel. Right on the bump end. Unfortunately has to brake a bit harder to just avoid the back of Nagel. That's going to cost him a lot of time through this corner and going to compromise his run up the main straight. Duggan is also, again, putting a lot of pressure on Spammers. They seem to be getting a lot closer to one another on this back straight. So I'm not sure whether Spammers is getting a bad exit through that first hairpin, or whether Nagel is just really good in that particular corner. And then further up ahead, again, Forster still stuck behind Buerta, so this driver is extremely well matched. Forster not really going that aggressive through the corners, and you can really see that from Buerta not running a defensive line whatsoever. So I'm not sure whether Forster is just trying to keep up or whether he's actually just be very careful at the moment. back to Duggan and Spammers. And we've got the overtake. Oh, almost. Spammers still managing to defend. Duggan's going to have the inside here. We'll see what happens. And yes, he completes the overtake. So some really good driving from these two. And Duggan now has to deal with the pressure that he's been putting on Spammers for such a long while. So we'll see what happens there. A bit further down, I think we haven't really kept an eye on him that well. So Botma trying to put a lot of pressure on Hales. You can see him falling back a bit and getting a much better drive. Hales noticing the driver on the inside and not turning in on him. So really well done there. Now this is going to be interesting. Hales running a defensive line. Botma getting a bit of the draft from him, but it's not going to be enough to make the pass. So we'll see what these guys have to go into the next few corners. Some really nice driving. I apologize, I'm just quickly keeping an eye on my logs here. Okay, so through the last few corners before the main straight, let's see if Botma can put the pressure on Hales. He has shown he's got some good. He has a good understanding of the lines that he needs to take through these turns, but he doesn't really have the drive that he needs to get past. And unfortunately, I think we've had some connectivity issues with Botma. That's going to be very distracting in Hales' mirror if he's going to be seeing that. Thankfully, it was just one instance. Now let's see through Aitkins. Can Botma get the exit? So Hales not making the same mistake that he did last time, not running too wide. So he's kept Botma at bay. Although Botma is going to utilize the draft. Hales running defensive yet again. Botma running right alongside him. It's going to come down to braking here. And Botma unfortunately doesn't really have the drive, running so far from the outside. And Hales just beautifully utilizing that inside line. Well done to you two. What's still, I don't know how he's been this consistent, but he's really not given Forster any gap. They do have Jaco Steyn kind of coming in there in the background. Let's just see if I can bring up my lap time history. So it's very evenly matched between these two drivers looking through their laps. You can see them kind of just trading off the time, so not any huge advantages that are being gained by either of the drivers. I'm going to quickly check. So Jaco Steyn. Oh, unfortunately, that's Marius Pretorius having a bit of a unfortunate situation there. So Jaco Steyn is catching Forster at some points, but it's not really making strides in closing the gap. Unless Botha and Forster are really keeping each other up, and that's giving him the opportunity to catch up, but we'll only see once this lap time comes in. Just going to jump back a bit. Gunnar Hales really feeling the pressure from Botma here. It's going to be interesting to see whether Hales makes an error on the exit, or whether Botma is going to get the drive or get held up at the apex. He's staying really, really close. So he's got the opportunity for a draft, and sorry, it's Hales and Thompson, I think. The both drivers alongside and still staying alongside one another. Hales running a fairly normal line with Botmar going quite wide on the circuit. I apologize, I just lost my place a bit. And Foster is now within a second of Jaak Wood. Oh, sorry. Jaco Steyn is within a second of Jakob Foster. So these two are going to get into a three-way battle now. And this is going to complicate things a lot for Foster, because he's been able to keep up with Botha, but he hasn't really gained enough of an advantage to get past him. And defending is probably going to drop him back a bit now if Jaco Steyn gets to him. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see how it plays out over the last half of the race. Speaking of the time, we're more than halfway through. And it's the main battle to watch has been this one here. It's Botha, Foster, and Steyn. Also, if you're only joining now, again, welcome to iRacing South Africa. I'm not the normal commentator that you usually have. That would be this gentleman right here, Sean Loebscher. And yeah, we're racing GT4s at Okayama. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I'd be really surprised if my chat isn't updating right now, but I haven't seen any messages from anyone yet. So if you're lurking there, feel free to say hi, and maybe even add where you're from. So this battle for third is now getting really interesting. I'll just jump back. Foster is now completely caught up with, Steyn is completely caught up with Foster and Botha. So Foster, unfortunately, in a bit of a sandwich there, and he's deciding to get a bit of a move on. He's got a nice draft from Botha. Decides to make the move on the inside, and he doesn't really have the speed to send it through there. Foster knows he has to make a move on. So he's really looking for opportunity past here. Unfortunately, some of the drivers are getting a bit of a tricky situation for some of the turns. Not going to show that now, but it has resulted in the pack spreading out a bit. So we're starting to lap some of the cars. You can already see, I think it's 3 of them that's a lap down. Ooh, and look at this. Up the inside goes Foster, and he gets so close. The side by side, almost ready for the revolver, but Foster decided to pull back behind Botha and not charging him through there. But now he's got the pressure from Steyn. So again, last few corners before the main straight, can they stick together? Can they get the advantage that they need? You can see Botha really looking for an opportunity here. He knows he has to pass now. His time is running out, and he's got Steyn breathing down from behind him. Yeah, the cars are so close. Probably just 50 centimeters or something behind, between them. Near the end of the straight, and no attack from Foster. So Botha doing really well, and Foster running wide there. That's going to put him under big pressure from Steyn here. Steyn doing well to avoid the back end of the car. We'll see now going into Aitken. is Foster going to get the exit that he needs? And he runs a bit wide again, missing the second apex. And this has opened the door for Stain. Stain looking up the outside, Foster running defensive. And unfortunately no situation there. Ooh, and Foster running completely wide. Almost opening the door for Stain. Stain sticking on the inside. And I think he might have hurt his chances there, cutting off the corner for himself. And this battle is now costing them time. You can see Jog Buerta pulling a gap 1.6 seconds. So he's definitely enjoying this. Wortley also now sitting at 3.4 seconds. So Wortley looks like he has this in the bag, unless Buerta is going to pull some serious pace from nowhere. But Foster now really feeling the pressure. You can see him making mistakes. You can see him kind of missing the apex that he needs. And Stain attacking on the inside, but not really having the opportunity to get on the brakes. But now, we'll see from here. Okay, Foster again, still struggling. He's and almost dipping a wheel on the ground. That could have been really bad. Stain looking on the outside. Not really the momentum he needs to drive through. Although Foster does look like he didn't get as good a drive through that corner as he wanted. Stain is catching him, but can he catch him quick enough? And that's going to be a no. But yeah, these two drivers having a very, very close battle. You can see Stain looking for the opportunity. Is just showing to Buerta that, listen, I'm here. And just making sure that his opponent knows that, okay, there's a driver behind me. And kind of just getting into his head a bit. The rest of the pack now definitely very spread out. Running up to 5 lapped cars now, so still fairly good. I don't know what's going on with my timing screws now, but oh, that's unfortunate. I think we might have just lost Buerta. Yeah, it seems that Jog Buerta is completely disconnected, so that puts Foster into second place. And again, dipping into the ground there. It's a really dangerous game he's playing. If he's on there too much with his back wheels, that car's going to step out and send him into the barrier. But yeah, that's really unfortunate of seeing Buerta. Let's see if he's still. No, I can't find him. Oh, wait. No, he's not disconnected. That's really strange. I apologize, I don't really know what happened there. He completely disappeared off my timing screens for basically a minute. Back to Jaco Foster and Jaco Stain. Again, running really close. I'm actually going to give these guys a bit of space. Let's look at some drivers that we haven't really seen. Oh, Brent Thompson. I've not really seen him before. Maybe check the points if he's running this. Oh, so this is the first race for Brent Thompson. With a really, really beautiful looking lime green McLaren. And you can see him staying out of the way of his opponents, so he's just kind of getting to know the with the field here, getting to know his car, and yeah, just seems to be having a fun time. Someone else I have not seen before. Unfortunately, that guy is now in the pits. So I'll just jump back to Jaco Foster. And it's been really interesting. So with whatever happened to Buerta, Foster now has second position, but whether he can hold on to the position is going to be a whole different ball game, because Stein is really good at putting the pressure on him here. And that's Foster into the pits. I'm not sure what happened there. I'll have to check whether whether people have to pit for fuel. Quite a few cars. Yeah, no, they're pitting for fuel because it's Wortley, Foster, and Stein in now. Everyone coming to the pits. We'll see how everyone hits their marks and how the timing screen reflects everyone when they come out. So Wortley is still able to pull in front of the entire pack after his pit stop. So all he now just needs to do is get his head down and just work through those laps as consistently as he can. Buerta and Foster now have a bit of a gap between them. Yeah, I'll have to check Discord afterwards how Buerta basically went back and forth. I think he might have just pitted early. That's what happened. Yeah, he pitted early. So, okay, apologies. Foster is definitely battling for second position, but Stein has fallen back a bit. I don't know whether his entry to the pits was just a bit slow, or whether he's had a penalty that he had to serve. But that's put a stop to that battle. But now this is a bit of a relief for Jaco Foster, so he can now just again work down the gap to Buerta, or do his best to actually maintain his position. Just quickly getting my comment screens up, running again. Stein is starting to advance through the field again, putting a bit of pressure on Duggan, and I think Duggan hasn't pitted yet. Let me just try and get the count up. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. So Stein looking for opportunity, getting really close to Duggan, but doesn't quite have the speed. Going into the hairpin. So Stein not really getting the drive that he wants to. But Duggan running defensive nonetheless, taking no chances. And he's going to have that one sorted. Stein having his work cut out for him, but he's not letting Duggan get away. Just keeping that gap as close as he can. Ooh, this is interesting. So we've got Stein on the inside and actually makes the pass. So Duggan really losing out with his exit there. Stein now having to defend himself. Duggan, oh, and we've got contact, and that's unfortunately created a bit of a blockade here. Well done on Spammers and Foster for avoiding Stein. But yeah, that's going to cost Duggan. That's going to cost him a time penalty, I think. Who's at fault there? I'm not entirely sure. So Zach Foster and uh, Jan Spammers, Super Clarence, looking to catch up with Duggan. It doesn't really look like they're putting too much pressure on one another, so they're keeping their space and probably just trying to catch up with the cars ahead. Apologies, I'm just quickly trying to see if my comments are working. Ah, okay. So Sean actually getting a bit of an opportunity out of this whole situation that happened to Stain, going up into 13th. He's had a bit of a rough day. Okay, sorry, we're on the last lap. Checkered flag is out. And your winners are Wayne Wortley, Jog Buerta doing really well to keep that position. And then a well-deserved third from Jaco Foster. Raymond Duggan coming in fourth, Jaco Spammers, or Jan Spammers, sorry. Zach Foster. And we've got a bit of... No, sorry. Oh, we actually have a position change for the end. What happened there? Again, not showing up on my timing screens, that's weird. Renier van Schalkwyk coming in at 11th. Congrats. And then Renier Engelbrecht coming in at 12th position. But yeah, well done to everyone. So, your results, if... apologies, so that's not working. Okay, so I'll just have to read it from here. So your results: first place, Wayne Wortley; second place, Jacques Buerta; followed by Jaco Foster, Raymond Duggan rounding off fourth, Jan Spammers in fifth, Zach Foster in sixth, Ines Botma, seventh position, Gijsbert Einagel taking eighth, Brent Thompson taking a ninth for his first run in the league, so well done to you. Then Gordon Hales taking 10th, Renier van Schalkwyk 11th, Renier Engelbrecht 12th, Jan Loopse, also first time driver, taking 13th, 14th for Jaco Steyn, who unfortunately had a bit of an accident, and then Marius Pretorius taking 15th. So yeah, well done to all of the drivers. It's been some really, really clean racing. Some really interesting racing as well. If you want to be a part of this, we do have a Discord. And it's a bit of a... I'll just quickly pop it on screen. So you can see our Discord link there. If you want to take part, feel free to come and say hi on the Discord, and we can get you involved from there. Looking to the next few races, the next race that we're doing the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Roval. on the 18th of May, so that's next Tuesday. Same time, starting 8 o'clock, um, GMT +2. If you've got daylight savings time, just work with the, uh, the South African Standard Time, SAST, 8 p.m. But yeah, from me, Johan Krinis, it's been a pleasure commentating for you, and I apologize that I'm not on the level as Sean, but uh, we'll see when he's back again. But he'll definitely be joining us again. All of the best for your evening, and I'll see you around.